welcome to the program City Pulse on Housing TV Africa. I am Phoebe Onwabuje. City Pulse is a program brought to you by the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, a town planning association recognized in Nigeria and globally. And today's program will be talking about increased population density. We'll be talking about overcrowding in urban areas. And I will not be doing this alone, as I will be unveiling my guests right after this break. Stay with us.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. Just as I stated earlier, I have with me here in the studio a seasoned expert in the built environment. I have town planner Dr. David Olawale, a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners and National Public Relations Secretary. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me in your studio this morning.
Thank you very much, sir.
It is my pleasure.
So today we will be discussing on increased population density. We'll be talking about overcrowding and how to amend the level at which it is, and the role of the NITP as Town Planning Association of Nigeria in ensuring that our urban areas are not as crowded as it currently is. So to begin, we'll be talking on the NITP just had a press conference recently, so we want Town Planner Dr. David Olawale to tell us a few things about the press conference, and also they commissioned a new edifice. So I would like you to, tell us more about it.
Well, thank you very much. To start with the press conference, it is a quarterly program.
Okay.
Which the current administration, the current leadership in the institute, we are embarking on, and the purpose is to make the profession of urban and regional planning to be more feasible, especially to members of public, to know whom we are, what we do, and how we can make our environment, our society to be more better for all of us to be able to enjoy the benefit of living in an environment that is well planned, and what the members of public also need to know, and also the government as well, to carry government along about the vision of the institute, and how we can partner with government of the day to make sure that we create a livable and sustainable environment for all the citizens.
Okay, thank you very much, Said. Also, it's also on the news that the association commissioned a very beautiful edifice. Said it's a secretariat. What do you have to say about that?
Thank you very much. It is a thing of joy for us. It's a moment of joy having a project completed.
Yes.
And not just any other project, not just an ordinary project, but the secretariat, where we can call our headquarters, where we can say is the seat of our government as an institute, where we have as the national headquarters of our institute. So seeing it completed and being commissioned it is a thing of joy, and a lot of things has gone into that project, a lot of resources, both from members of the institute and as well as our partners, both in the country and outside the country. So a lot of things have gone into it, and it's a moment of joy for us to have our own secretariat being completed.
Well, I would say congratulations to
Thank
the
you very
Nigerian
much.
Institute of Town Planners
Thank you very
for
much.
being able to erect and commission their beautiful new secretariat edifice. Now, moving on to today's discussion, we'll be talking on overcrowding. We can see that in Nigeria today, overcrowding has become a common thing, especially in our urban areas where people now leave the rural areas to, to center on to everybody now comes to the urban areas to hustle, to make money, to make ends meet, so they can have access to other social amenities and all of that. Why do you think this overcrowding
Well,
is always an issue, especially in Nigeria?
well, thank you very much. You know, the mindset or the perception of people is that the city centers is the only place where things are happening, and everybody wants to live uh, at the city center. And as a result of that, the influx of people on a daily basis to the city centers is making the city centers to be crowded, to be overcrowded. And as a result of that, there are a lot of things that have to do with an environment where you are experiencing an overcrowding.
Okay.
So there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of issues that are attached to it, and that is why, as uh, town planners, it is our responsibility, it is our duty to make sure that we have a very planned environment and make sure that those amenities that are making people to focus only on the city center, that is making everybody to want to migrate to the city center, will make sure that those facilities are evenly distributed and to reduce the overcrowding in the city centers.
Thank you very much, Town Planner Dr. David Olawale. So basically what we are looking at here is that the government is not doing enough to provide these social amenities in rural areas, because every day you see people moving out of their rural areas to the urban areas because what these things are not available.
Yes, definitely, because if you look at the percentage of the development or infrastructures being provided in the rural areas, you will see that it's far, far less than what we have in the city centers. And everybody wants to enjoy good life. Everybody wants to enjoy good electricity. Everybody wants to enjoy potable water supply. Everybody wants to have access to good education, good health facilities, and all of that. The transportation system, good transportation system, and all of that. So everybody wants to have access to those basic amenities, and that is why you see people moving to the city centers, moving to urban areas every day and leaving the rural areas. Even the activities that are supposed to be going on, that are supposed to be taking place in the rural areas, people are neglecting it. For instance, agricultural practices are mainly supposed to be taking place in the rural areas, but because of lack of those amenities, everybody wants to live in the city center, and that is what we are experiencing today. So, it's as a result of not having those basic amenities enough in the rural areas, and that area, that aspect, government needs to look into that and do more of planning and provision of basic amenities for the citizens who are living in the rural areas. By the time those things are evenly distributed, people will be, willing to stay in the rural areas, and those rural areas, they will serve as district centers as well, where people can live, people can work without necessarily have to come to the city center before they can get basic things that they need. And with that, we'll be able to develop the entire nation together, and everything will be balanced. We have balanced development, and the environment will be livable to everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, Town Planner Dr. David Olawale. But in your speech, you talked about agriculture.
Mm.
Do you think citizens of Nigeria as today will actually stay in the rural areas, even if the government provides all they need for the agricultural sector to boom?
Definitely, people will, like I said, the basic amenities are the first thing that government needs to look into before, I mean, if we actually want people to stay there. If there is, I mean, if we have good electricity supply in the rural areas, take for instance in my village, if there is good electricity, I have access to portable water supply, I have access to adequate health facility, I have adequate, I mean, access to adequate educational facilities where my children can go to school, they can, why, and there are jobs, provision in the rural areas. Why do I need to force myself to come and live in the city center, where the city center that is already being overcrowded? Why do I need to do that? So in a situation whereby government can make provision for all of this, everybody that are supposed to be living in the rural area, they will be willing to do that. That is one. Secondly, when you talk of agriculture, there are different levels of agriculture. Where if there are adequate provision to develop our agricultural sector, in a situation whereby people that are supposed to, be living in the rural areas, practicing the agriculture, carrying out the farming, activities and all of that, when they don't have access to basic things that can improve their agricultural activities,
Yeah.
they will not, they will not want to stay there.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Suffering.
they will be looking for another job that can, where they can be getting daily incomes. And as a result of that, they'll be looking at migrating to the city center. But in a situation whereby in the rural areas, where we have the agrarian lands, government made provision for equipment, like modern equipment. They have access to machineries, that they can use, for their farming, go into mechanized farming. By the time they have access to all of that, people will be tend to stay in the rural area and go into a lot of people, even staying, a lot of people that are staying in the cities, the city centers now, they will be willing to also go into the rural areas and practice the agricultural system. Once we have adequate facilities, the system that supports the practice of agriculture, people will be tend to stay in the rural area and go into agricultural sector.
All right, dear viewers, you've been watching City Pulse on Housing TV Africa. We'll be doing so much and having more discussions right after this break. Stay with us.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. You're watching City Pulse on Housing TV Africa. I am Phoebe Onwabuje, and I have here with me in the studio Town Planner Dr. David Olawale, and we have been discussing on increased population density and overcrowding and how we can tackle these issues in Nigeria. Town Planner David Olawale has said that one of the ways to tackle these overcrowding is for the Nigerian government to provide social amenities also in the rural areas and not just the urban areas. Moving forward, we'll be talking on the challenges that have been faced by the people living in these congested, overcrowded areas. Town Planner David Olawale, I would like you to tell us more about the challenges that are faced in these overcrowded areas and what the government can do about it.
Okay, thank you very much. In a situation whereby the number of people living in an area is more than what was initially proposed or planned for, it's become overcrowded.
Okay.
And as a result of that, the number one challenge they will be having is lack of better life.
Mm.
In a situation whereby, take for instance, in a building where we have 10 people living, and probably the provision for that particular unit is not more than 5, then the place is already overcrowded.
Yes, sir.
So, good living, we cannot say people living in that such an environment or in such an apartment, they are having good living. So that is number one challenge. Then, going forward, that kind of environment is prone to insecurity. So there will be security challenges in that kind of environment, and that is why you see robbery here and there. You see, a lot of issues that have to do with in a situation whereby we have too much people, living together in a place. Another thing is that there is going to be traffic problem.
Yes, congestion.
Congestion everywhere. There will be traffic congestion here and there, and that is what we are experiencing in some of our city centers today. So there is always traffic problem, and because the center is already been overcrowded, so the movement becomes problem. It's become an issue for the citizens or for the people that are living in those areas. The high cost of living is another challenge in that area. Take for instance, a place where 5 people supposed to be living, and 10 people are now struggling to be accommodated in that place. Definitely, the cost of living will be high, the rent will be increased, and a lot of things like that. Because another thing, that may warrant that is the fact that there's going to be overstressed. The property itself will be overstressed. An apartment where 5 people supposed to be living and 10 people are living there, definitely that property will be overstressed, and it will be reducing the lifespan of the property.
That's true.
So there are a lot of challenges, associated with overcrowded area. So, and in order to make sure that, okay, another thing is that these basic facilities we are talking about, the basic amenities like education and all of that, those facilities will also be overstressed. In a situation whereby we have an hospital that's supposed to be, to cater for 100 people, and about 300, 500 people are, are going there, yes, for health facility. That is why you see in some hospital, if you go to some hospital, the staffs will begin to tell you, we don't have facility, we don't have a bed available, where we can admit people, where we can do this, where we can do that. And these are some of the challenges that are associated with the overcrowded area. And going forward, how can we solve this? Everything is centered on planning. Because, for instance, that hospital that you provided for, you make provision for in that area, how do you come about it? Who told you? What are the figures that you put together that makes you to know that, oh, this hospital will be, is supposed to cater for X number of people. This school is supposed to, cater for X number of pupils or students. Where did you get those figures? So that is, everything is centered on planning. So until we are able to put those things together, that is when we'll be able to plan adequately for the population. So we need to know how many people are we expecting to be in this area. So by the time we put all of that together, we'll be able to know, okay, these are the facilities that the people living in this area that they needed. So by so doing, we'll be able to provide for them. And going back to the rural areas as well, because like I said, this population need to be distributed evenly, not to the city centers alone. As those facilities are being provided for in the city center, also the rural areas need to be catered for. so that people that are supposed to be living in the rural area, they will not be finding another greener pasture into the city centers. They'll be able to stay there. The facility, the amenities that you are looking for, that want to make you to go to the city center, you have them already in the rural areas. So why are you troubling yourself? So everything centered on planning. And that is where the idea of preparation of different development plans comes in. And these are the responsibility of the expert in the field of urban and regional planning. Okay. So by the time you plan for people in the city center, you plan for people in the rural areas, which is the duty of government to make sure that they provide for their citizens. So by the time we have all these plans, it is these plans that we set out, or that we explain, that will tell us what do we need in each of the areas, in each of the sectors, in each of the districts. This is what we need. This is the population as of today. This is the expected population in the next 20, 50 years. And these are the facilities that are needed to be provided so that it will be able to take care of those populations. So all of these come together. It is the joint responsibility of government and the experts in the field of urban and regional planning to make sure that we have adequate plans. In most cases, we develop without plan. We develop without planning. And we can never get it right. Because if there are no plans, for instance, as a politician, I'm promising my people, or during the campaign exercise, that, we are going to build X number of schools, we are going to do good roads, we are going to give you potable water supply, we are going to... Where? The question we should be asking ourselves is where?
Okay.
Where are the policies? Where are the plans guiding those development? If I want to provide school for my people in my area, where is the plan? Where should it be located? You see, there's difference between making provision for facilities, and there's different, and citing those facilities in an appropriate location. For instance, you put an hospital where there are a lot of roadblocks and all of that,
inside the market.
Yes, where people cannot easily access it. That's not planning. So all of this needs to be readdressed if we want to actually get it right, and that's an issue that needed to be addressed by government, to make sure that all these plans, all these provision and everything, they are adequately, taken care of.
Okay. Thank you very much, Town Planner Dr. David Olawale. You've talked about the government doing so many things, planning and all of that. Now, the role of the NITP, which you are a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, what are the effective things that we can actually do to reduce this challenge that is, that is ravaging the country?
Thank you very much. Like I said, it is the duty of the experts in the field of urban and regional planning to prepare all these plans we are talking about.
Okay.
We cannot plan, you cannot put something on nothing. There must be a plan. If you want to get it right, there must be a plan which we are going to be building upon. The development supposed to come after planning.
Okay.
But in some of our city centers, or even in the rural area, in some rural areas as well, the development have gone ahead of planning. So it's the planning that is now chasing the development, and it makes it difficult to get it right. It's as good as you are not doing anything. So the interest must be in the preparation of those plans, and that is why, as the Institute of Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, we are always available to assist government in all these areas to make sure that we have adequate plans that can address all these challenges we are talking about. So it's for government to now develop interest
Okay.
in that profession and see, like the medical doctors, as they are important to human life, so also town planners are very, very important to the environment.
Thank you very much, Town Planner David Olawale, the fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners and also National Public Relations Secretary of the association. All right, dear viewers, and that's a wrap up on today's program, City Pulse on Housing TV Africa. We've been discussing on increased population density and overcrowding, how to tackle the issue in Nigeria. And you have heard that the government should provide social amenities. You don't have to wait for them to come to the urban areas for greener pastures. You take the greener pastures to them in the rural areas. Follow Housing TV Africa on YouTube and all social media platforms. Don't forget to download the Housing TV mobile app on Google Play and Apple Play Store to stay connected. I am Phoebe Onwabuje. Thanks for watching.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news. Be a part of the construction revolution as we take you on a voyage of everything building and beyond. The Artisan Show.